really is kind of the pinnacle time in our country. And it's rather moving. I apologize for getting emotional, but to hear a solo violinist play the national anthem, and to look at the few numbers that we have truly fighting for freedom, it is truly a difficult and disappointing time in America to see so many people literally voting for unrighteousness and wickedness. This is the time that we need to stand up and fight for freedom. Whether we win or not is not the issue. The issue is we get points for trying. It's very important that we do everything that we can to get the message out, to stand up for freedom and try and help fix the issues that are created in our current society. 2016 years ago, everybody knows the date, 2016. You write it every day, they write it in schools, but they fail to teach the children why it's 2016 years and what it is truly after. 2016 years ago, the sign was given at the birth of Christ. A moment in history that was so phenomenal, the entire world tracks time to that very date. While our current school system teaches children about evolution, which is a complete farce, but they fail to teach children about the real truths about our real history. The history that is littered with ruins all over the world that support the scriptures and the endless documents that have been found and the endless evidences that support our true history. All of our ancestors knew without a doubt that God existed and literally started tracking time by that very date in history. Now, 2016 years later, people want to turn against that knowledge, turn against their own ancestors, and turn against something that is so important that we literally track time by it, by this very date. We have some serious issues in our society. Perversion is being promoted and trying to be accepted. Laws are literally being passed to attack and go after anyone who stands up against perversion. Not only do we need to fight against the perversion of marriage, but perversion in general should be flat out illegal. Things that are horrifically destructive to our society should be fought against by all in a righteous society. You cannot have liberty without righteousness. You simply cannot have the liberties of a free nation without standing up for morality. And morality, at its very basic core, is being destroyed by the entire society. The current governor that we have, as we all know, is literally working against our freedoms. People are paying upwards of 70% taxes of what they earn, and a complete mockery is being made of our freedoms. Those in business know they spend so much money just jumping through government hoops. It wastes an enormous amount of time. We literally have to hire numerous employees who do nothing but jump through government hoops and do the paperwork that we're enslaved by our taskmasters of the government. This is destroying businesses. Businesses are going out of business left and right and moving and leaving the country. If we only had one single state that stood up for freedom, if we had one state that stood with the Constitution and literally supported the laws, the entire world would flow to it. The whole world. If you instilled freedom, if you eliminated taxes, which are not part of what our founding fathers enacted, it's what they were running away from and fighting against. If we instill that freedom in Utah, all businesses around the globe would want to place their businesses right here in Utah. They would be moving into Utah, not out of Utah. As Herbert tries to jobs. I saw a sign on the way down here saying 219,000 jobs. Does anyone believe such a complete farce of lies? Absolutely not. He has literally destroyed more than that jobs and destroyed that in our economy. I know just from personal experiences, from building the 4th largest computer retailer in the western United States, about the sheer destruction that government causes, and that's backed up by the socialist antichrist media, which is literally working to destroy all of our freedoms. They are the reasons that we're having trouble even getting a righteous candidate elected, or even to be talked about, or even noticed in the press. I think all of us in here are on the same team. We all know the principles of freedom. This party is based off of principles that you wouldn't be in this party or in this room if you didn't believe in the Constitution and want to stand up and fight for your liberties and do all that God wants you to do. We need a candidate for governor that's going to get attention and bring more awareness to these issues. The gentleman running against me is an honorable man, very knowledgeable. I'm sure he's far more knowledgeable than I am. But God has put me in the position that I'm at. God has blessed me in my life to be a person who attracts attention and brings awareness and brings that voice that people listen to. And even though we're having a struggle just trying to stand for freedom and to get people to just vote for their own liberties, we do need a strong candidate that has that powerful voice that will be reckoned with and that will be heard and that will be gaining attention to the party and to the cause and to our liberties. That's what we're shooting right now. We need more than a 60% vote so we can get on with campaigning and fighting against the enemy instead of fighting against our own candidates or working against each other. We're all on the same team. So, I really want to give a kudos to everyone that's here. This party asked me to be your candidate. You guys actually called me. I didn't come and ask to run or tell everybody I was running. The party leaders actually called me and invited me to be your candidate because they knew I would be the best odds to get the voice and get the name out there and to get the recognition and to get the votes that we need. Obviously when I ran, I was the only one that made every single media in Utah and even some national news coverage. It gets the name out there. So when you go to vote, we know what the cause is. We know we're both on the same team. We're both fighting for the same freedoms. But we do need to vote for a candidate that's going to get that name out there and who has the experience. I have built the 4th largest computer retailer in the western United States. I won the World System Builder Award by over 30%. You never hear about these accolades in the media because they do not stand up for righteous candidates. They don't promote people who really, truly have character and who have that creativity. Instead, they're working to destroy that creativity. I literally invented my own backpack aircraft, and I sell them all over the world. And I'm even more successful than I was in computers. But you would never know it because of the sheer issues and the evil that we have in today's media. All of it, all of the major media is controlled by seriously evil people. And so you don't hear about the true character and the true innovation and ingenuity that we have right in our own ranks. We have the ability to not have to pay electric bills. We have the ability to work together as a community to actually benefit each other and to be creative and innovative. But instead, our government even bans things like Tesla, the electric car, from coming to Utah. The sheer absurdity of such a thing is so preposterous, it's hard to even comprehend how a governor like Herbert could show his face after something like that, let alone put his face on a billboard. It should be on toilets. So, anyway, I would plead for your vote for the Constitution, for our country, and just to do the right thing. And I appreciate you all coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate your words. And we would like to introduce Greg, and I can't remember your last name. Duerden. Come forward, Greg. Give Greg a hand.
I'm a candidate with visual effects. My name is Greg Duerden. There's a scripture that says, "Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only." Ich bin ein Doer. I'm running as Lieutenant Governor candidate on the ticket with Dell. Basically, people are sitting there saying, all right, why is an old fart running for Lieutenant Governor? And basically, I'll tell you why I'm going for it. Because, like Dell, I believe it's time for Utah to stand up. Stand up for the Constitution. Radical concept. To stand up to the corruption in our political system. I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm running for the Independent American Party because a friend of mine turned me on to the IAP and said, look at these guys. And I told him the Republicans and the Democrats are different sides of the same corrupt coin. Basically, that's what they are run on, is coins, money. I've been called, I'm a veteran. I was in the Air Force. Started out as a tail gunner on B-52s. I'm not quite as conservative as Joe McCarthy, but that has yet to be seen. In the Air Force, I received an evaluation that called me a common man of uncommon leadership and insight. I was born and bred in Utah. I have very deep Utah roots. And I was raised in Utah. I'm committed to Utah. I would like to raise Utah's education, ethics, and I'd like to get us off of electronic voting machines. A programmed vote is not a free vote. I was born in Salt Lake City, the eldest of 4 boys, and raised in Provost Tree Streets on the east side bench. My father was a BYU professor and my mother a Social Security claims rep. I have 2 brothers who are university professors, and one is a financial planner. I spent 40 plus years as a member of the media. I was a newspaper man. Each one of the stars on this poster are newspapers that I have worked for, radio stations I've worked for as news director or reporter, or a TV station in Aspen where I was doing grassroots TV. I've learned a lot as I've been around the entire state of Utah, and Washington, and California, and Colorado, and Wyoming. But the things that I've seen in politics, they're not following correct principles. They're not doing things in a righteous manner. What when I met Dell, I asked him, why are you running for governor? And he told me to give the people a righteous choice, a righteous option. I don't think this party will be the kind of party that has a seated state senator also listed as a lobbyist. That's not a conflict of interest, right? That has happened in this state 8 years ago. The amount of corruption, illegal activities, I mean, the way lobbyists buy legislators at our legislature is a crime. Lieutenant governors are overseeing the lobbyists. They oversee the PACs. They make sure that the financial contributions to the candidates are listed and that they qualify. The lieutenant governor is in charge of the election. We don't have a lieutenant governor who's making the hard choices. Believe me, as a gunner on B-52s, you only have two choices. You take your finger off the trigger or you pull that trigger. I can pull the trigger. I'm the father of 6 children, 4 girls, 2 boys. I am the grandfather of 68 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. I didn't teach my children enough hobbies, obviously. But I am also the father of 18 stepchildren, hence the rapid rise in grandchildren. I have buried 2 wives. So I have known grief in my life, but I have also known joy. 68 grandchildren are a joy. As I said, I was a member of the U.S. Air Force. I was top of my class in my B-52 training, so I was a Top Gun before the movie was even popular. And I was also a unit historian with the 1st Fighter Wing in Langley, Virginia, where I was sole junior enlisted man on the wing commander's staff. I received an honorable discharge, and during my time in the military, I earned my bachelor's degree. I'm a retired newspaper man now, but I've worked all across the state. And my career is illustrated on my campaign logo. I have followed local politics in Utah for more than 40 years. And I've seen their policies of failure when it comes to giving education lip service. I've seen their lies to us as voters, to the parents, but most of all to our children. Where is the world-class education that we've been promised? I've seen them fail to address Utah ethics until in 2010, an initiative forced their hand. And they still use the good old boy system of the fox guarding the hen house, because the legislature has no ethical oversight. The governor and the legislature don't account to anyone for their ethics. But every city, county, and special district in the state have an ethics commission over them. I've seen and followed the legislature's failure. Their failure to do what the Utah voters have told them to do by continuing to bring up school vouchers in every session, and even failing to lead in the area of ethics. You remember the 2002 Olympics and the scandal that came out of that? We helped to uncover that here in Utah. We should be leading the same charge in politics. We need a change in the State House. We need a non-corrupt party controlling. We need a change of party. And I believe we need a little bit of Super Dell's leadership in this state. Thank you.
The next speaker is another world's greatest. He's the second oldest man in the old American Party. I give you now Gary Van Horn.